All right, so now we're going to bring these guys into Revit for the purposes of using walls and floors by face and for just representational purposes. So we're going to need to bring them in as a mass. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And I've also given you a template for that. So if you want to go to Model and New and browse to wherever it is you save the zip file that I gave you for class. Go in here and get mine. You should have an AO1V-1 template, and you can just select that and open it and click OK here, and it will open it. It may need to upgrade it, depends on your version of Revit, but go ahead and let it do that. And basically what this guy is, if I go to my default 3D, is a blank file. It just has views and sections and sheets set up for us. I'm going to go ahead and delete this floor right now, just delete it. We can put another one in later if we need it, probably won't. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to link those drawing files that we created into here and work on updating their materials. All right, so go to your site plan. This is where I typically like to be when I import things. You could be in 3D later on when you're more used to it, but I would just suggest going to your site plan first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to trick Revit into thinking this is a mass, because it's just an import. So I'm going to go to Architecture and Component and Model in Place. And what this is going to allow us to do is categorize this as a mass. So I'm going to pick Mass and click OK. And we need it as a mass so we can put walls, floors, and roofs by face on it. So it's going to turn on the Show Mass mode, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. I'm going to hit Close here. And it's going to ask us for a name. So you could name it Mass 1A, right? Click OK. And then I'm going to go to Insert and Link CAD. And I'm going to go to wherever it is that I save those exports, and I'll get my Mass 1A and click Open. And it will bring that guy in, and I'll go ahead and finish it. Up here, big green check, and go to my 3D view, and you'll see that it brings it in with this blue color. The first thing I'm going to do is test it to see if Revit is seeing it as a solid. So I'm going to hide these scope boxes just by selecting them and typing VH for View Hide. And then I'm going to turn on the section box. The section box is in your Properties dialog box under Extents, and it's going to size itself to the extents of the model. I'm going to pick it, and just gives you these drag handles, and I'm going to pull the top drag handle down, and it does see it as a solid, so it's not transparent or mesh looking, so it seems to like it. You can kind of pull it around and test it. So that's a good sign. That's kind of the first thing I want to do. And then the next thing I want to do is play around with the material applications and see how it's working. So I'm going to go to my Object Styles, which is under the Manage tab here, and there's Object Styles. If you're using my keystrokes, you can just type OO, and it will come up. And if we take a look at the imported objects, you're going to see layer 3, which is this guy. And there's a layer 0. You can actually probably delete that. There's probably nothing on it. And then the layer 3 has a line color, so the line color is blue, and it's matching the color of the Rhino layer, by the way. And then it also has a render material. And so this render material, we can update it. Sometimes you can change it and it'll take, but I would stick with the original material itself and just update it. So I'm going to click on this little ellipsis that comes up right here on the right hand side, and I'm going to rename this material to Mass 1A. All right, and then I'm going to change a few things about the material. First, I'm going to use render appearance for shading, which turns it gray. The graphics is what controls it in the screen. Appearance is what controls it when it renders. So I'm just going to give this guy a color in the Appearance tab. Let's just give it that color. And when you check use render appearance, it just pushes that through to the shading. And the other thing I want to do is I want to change my cut pattern. So that's what happens when it's sectioned. So I'm going to click on this foreground pattern where it says none, and I'm going to set it to solid fill. And then you can choose whatever color you want. That's the color I chose, but maybe I'll choose a gray. Okay. And then I'll click OK. And then maybe I'll change the line color to black as well. Probably going to want that anyway. Click OK. And you can see the outside changes, right? And then if we pick the section box and pull it in, we're now getting a gray section, right? So that's a positive thing, right? It's actually working and updating to the materials. All right, so when we come back, I'll link the other pieces in and apply the materials, and we'll take it from there.